right. The worst possible thing you could say when you walk into a car dealership. I spent 5 years with Mercedes-Benz, 5 with General Motors, and the worst thing a person could say when they walk in is, if you could just get me to this payment, we got a deal.
So your loan's probably still like 19, which means you got to pay to get out. You're upside down. It's called negative equity. Welcome to episode 23 of Car Shopping Questions and Answers. I am your host, publicly known as Deshone the Auto Advisor. Let me turn on Do Not Disturb on. Hang on. Okay, Bluetooth off. Okay, I just had to turn on Do Not Disturb on my iPad here. We get TikTok going. Thank you so much. This is episode 23. We do these shows to make sure that those who are committed to financial literacy have the best strategies concerning car shopping. You cannot get below market deals if you have no strategy. You're going to, at best, pay what everyone else is paying, and at worst, pay more than everyone else is paying. So if you want to pay less than everyone else is paying, type $ in the comments as you come in. If your goal, if you're like Deshone, you're talking to me, I'm the person who wants to pay less than everyone else. No matter what car I'm buying, then type $ and you're going to enjoy what we're about to talk about. I see you, so and Chanel. Let me just make sure I'm sharing. If you are a person that shares, if you could hit the share button, that would be great. And you guys can start typing your questions while I go over the housekeeping. You can start typing your car shopping questions. And my man Dolan is in the background moderating for us. And he will be bringing the questions onto the show. And we'll probably get started with the first question in about 60 seconds. So you guys can start typing your questions. Now, something very important for you guys to know is I'm the author of the new digital book, Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships, currently rated 4.95 on Goodreads.com. Thank you to everyone who's rated and reviewed my new book. It's a digital book, so you can get it anytime during the show. And if you get there in the first 30 minutes, you can get yours for 75% off. Normally, the price is $97. But in my TikTok bio and my Instagram bio, as well as in the comments section on Facebook or YouTube, you can get your copy for 75% off. So everything I'll be talking about during the stream will be teaching out of what's in that book and my 7-step strategy to paying less than everyone else without spending more than 20 minutes in a dealership. Okay? So hold on. Chanel on TikTok told me the live video pause. Are we still good on TikTok? Type 1s if we're good on TikTok. Go ahead, Jay Gunn. Type your questions. I know you had a couple questions that we got to on our last stream, but we tried to get to. I know you said you couldn't get to all of them, but yeah, we try to get through as many as we can. So, Dolan, if you got the first one, you can bring it in, and we'll get the show on the road, brother. If not, then everybody type your questions so that Dolan can start bringing them onto the show. I'm just doing some sharing. And see, because nobody's going to promote. Listen, no one's going to promote your show like you will. So whatever you're doing, shout out to everybody who shares. Shout out to the new people. Shout out to everybody who tags friends. But I got to make sure that I'm sharing. Okay, this one is GC Julian from TikTok. Would a longer term be better or worse? Would a longer term be better or worse? Okay. I don't know if I don't know specifically if you're talking about a lease or a purchase. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just hit on both real quick. With the first one being the easier one. Let's talk about a lease term. So some people have taken 4-year leases. Some people have taken 3.5-year leases. I'm not a fan of any of those because you're paying too long on a car you're giving back. 3.5 years is, if it's a phenomenal offer, then possibly. Now, how do we know it's a phenomenal offer? Just add up the payments. Just add up the payments. See, if I did $400, let's just say, for example, I'm looking at a $35,000 vehicle, and my payment is, let's say, $425 a month. So we consider that to be a really good lease because it's about 1.2% of the MSRP. Now, if I did 425 times 36 months, then I'm paying $15,000 over 3 years to drive a $35,000 vehicle. A $35,000 vehicle with taxes probably put me about 38 with taxes, fees, and I'm paying 15 grand over 3 years. That's a really good value. Now, if I take that same 425 times 4 years, it's 20 grand. See the difference? Type clear if you see the difference. I'm talking to people who are, you guys know, if some of you who've been on the stream, you know we talk to people who lease, people who buy new, people who buy used. We teach all of that. And then we talk to people, we try to correct people who don't understand leasing, who don't keep their cars 8 years. So we talk to everybody. But you see the difference, right? Same payment, but just the term changes the value of the lease totally. So we don't look at, if I'm looking at a 4.5-year lease, it has to make financial sense when I add up all those payments. But we go for 3 years, 36 months, or 39 months. That's usually the max we're going to go on a lease, unless it's, like I said, it's just a stupid offer. Now let's talk about purchasing. So I have something, and I teach it in my book. It's called The Rule of 72 and the 10th Birthday. I don't believe anybody should be getting a loan over 72 months because that's not, see, there's different levels of being conservative. When you're getting a loan, what you're doing is you're using something called leverage. You don't have the cash, or you don't want to use the cash, and you want to leverage someone else's money, either all of it or a percentage of it, to buy something. Now, leverage is some people don't use leverage at all. They want to go extra conservative and only pay cash. That's right for some people. I'm not the person who teaches that that's right for everybody, because I know brilliant people who when you're using leverage the right way, it makes financial sense. For example, there are people who make 8, 9, 10%, 15%, 20% on their money. They would never put their money into a car that gives them a negative return on that cash. So, but there's something called over leverage. And when you are over leveraging, you're typically getting something you can't normally afford, and you're stepping into dangerous territory when you're over leveraging a depreciating asset that could have problems the longer you keep it. And that's okay. It's okay for a car to have repairs, and you have to invest a little money into the car to keep it going. What's not okay is when it gets to that stage where it's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, and you're still making car payments on that car while you're trying to repair it and keep it going. So I teach something called the Rule of 72 and the 10th Birthday, meaning you should not be taking a loan under any circumstances longer than 72 months. And at the same time, you should be adding the age of the car up with the years of your loan, and it shouldn't equal more than 10. Car should be paid off by the 10th birthday. When I was in the dealership, some of you who, if you're new to the stream, I spent 5 years with Mercedes-Benz and 5 with General Motors, and I was in the car business for 14 years before I left after the pandemic in 2020. I never went back to the car business. That's when we started our education company. And since then, I mean, when I was in the dealership, I saw several people who would be in the service department crying, you know, not literal crying, but you could see the pain because they had big repair bills, but they were still making car payments, especially with Mercedes. You got people who have 11, 12-year-old cars, and 11, 12-year-old cars are doing what they're supposed to do. They're acting up a little bit, and they're looking for the owner to invest in them to keep them going. But if you're paying your car payment, your insurance, your gas, um, your maintenance, oil changes, brake jobs. This is maintenance. That's not repairs. Maintenance isn't repairs. So you're doing those things, and then when you look at those surprises of things breaking, that's the fifth expense you can't really see coming, and that was financially damaging people. So that's why I came up with that rule, because typically people who are paying off their cars within 6 years are not running into that. And typically people who have their car paid off by the time the car is 10 years old is not running into that. So what I teach, besides the strategies to pay less than everybody, we also created boundaries, because we saw that there was really no education, there was no boundaries to buying cars, and that's where a lot of you are getting in trouble. That's where your problem is, because when you go buy a house, there are lots of boundaries. And people around you have licenses, attorneys, title companies, realtors, brokers, mortgage agents. These are people all licensed to help. They have a license to protect. If they do something wrong to you, it could come back to bite them. So with cars, it's not like that. So we had to create that. So that's my rule. That's my boundaries that I create for people who listen to me. You don't have to use them, but having some boundaries will protect you. So it's a great question, though. That's my rule on terms. There we go. Go ahead, Dolan. Shoot the next one up. Welcome to the 3 p.m. live, everybody. We will be live 3 p.m. We know Monday through Thursday. Every now and then I might do a 3 p.m. show on Friday. I don't know, but I do know Monday through Thursday we'll be here at 3 p.m. Eastern time, because this is a good slot for everybody pretty much around the country to jump on. Even if you're on your lunch break, even if whatever, you can't talk, you can still listen into the show and you can get the information. And then if you want to watch the replays, they're on YouTube, they're on Facebook. Jay Gons, what's going on YouTube? I have a car with $4,000 left. I have the money to pay it off. I'm going to give away to a family member, and I'm going to buy a new one. Should I pay off the car first or after I get the new car? If you're going for a loan on the new car, it's tough to get approved, or it's tougher to get approved for a second loan. So I would always tell you, pay off the car first before you go for the next car. Now, listen, if it's a $4,000 balance, and maybe you're going to, if you have a high income, maybe this doesn't matter. But if you're just, standard income or slightly above average income, it could be tough to get an approval or get the best approval if you still have an outstanding loan. And if you have the cash to pay off the car, then why not do it? Rates are, now here's something to think about, because again, I'm an advisor. So as an advisor, I'm looking for every scenario and things to take into account and advising you of what you should be doing or considering, and then letting you make the decision. See, I'm not going to make the decision for you. I'm not going to make the decision for any of you. I'll just tell you, based on my experience, this is what I recommend, and then you could make your choice. But if you have a low interest loan on your existing car, then rates right now, depending on what you end up getting, could be higher. So let's say that $4,000, the interest you're paying on that old loan, if it's very low, the interest you're paying on the new loan may not be that. So if you're going to get a 7 or 8% interest rate on this new car, then it may make sense for you to put that $4,000 down and lower the balance of the new car you're buying, so that you can actually, you're saving more money that way than you would paying off the old car. So if I had a 0%, 1%, 2%, 3% loan on the old car, I wouldn't pay that car off and then go and take the full amount of the new car and finance the whole thing at a higher interest rate. But this is just a little bit of nuance there, because we always check when we're for the new car we're buying to see if there's any special interest rates. Is there any 0%, 0.99%, 1.99%, 2.99%? Because maybe you can get a low interest rate on the next car you're about to buy. But if that's not the case, it always makes sense to put down more money on a car when the interest rates are higher. From a financial perspective, if interest rates are high, you typically want to apply as much cash as you can to the transaction, finance as little as possible since rates are high. So, okay, but again, that's your choice to make. I'm just giving you the options. Okay, go ahead, Dolan, shoot the next one in. Right. Okay, I'm on a fixed income. Hey, Stacy from Facebook. I'm on a fixed income. How can I find a used car to buy on my budget? There are not a lot of used cars out there in my price range. Okay, so first thing you want to keep in mind is what you're paying for when you get a car. I have this in step 4 of my book, which is shopping, not buying. We talk about this is when you're choosing your car and you're evaluating if it's a good car, so that you don't go out and get a great deal on a bad car. But one of the things that we talk about is smart sacrifices, and you need to know what you're paying for when you get a car. These are the 5 things, okay? First is size. Now, when you combine everything I'm about to lay out, this is what drives your prices up. And when you start looking at cars, it's very important that you know what to take out when the price is above your budget, because you mess around and take out the wrong thing and you ruin your transaction. This is needs versus wants. See, if you don't understand needs versus wants, you're going to be in a horrible position when everything you want is not affordable, and you start to take things out that you need instead of the things you wanted. Pay attention to this as we go deep on this. Size is what you pay for. That means the smaller vehicle, the better when it comes to the budget. A small vehicle that was $20,000, $25,000, $27,000 brand new is going to be less expensive than a car that was $40,000 brand new. And typically a car that was $40,000 brand new is going to be bigger than a car that was $22,000 brand new. So size, I always tell people, if you're on a fixed income, low income, you want to get as small a car as possible. You want to get a smaller, but watch this, that covers your needs. So you might say, Deshone, I put stuff in the back of my car, I need some room in the back. Or you might say, Deshone, I need a third row. But you got to be careful when you're going with this size. Oh, you know what? I really want an SUV. But is budget a thing? Yeah, well, yeah, the budget is important to me. Okay, so do you need an SUV or do you want an SUV? Well, I really don't need an SUV, but I like one. Y'all got that? Very important. You want an SUV. You don't need an SUV. Understand that you're paying to get an SUV. Size. So size is the first thing. You get the smallest vehicle that will cover your needs. Second is amenities. Amenities are your leather, your cameras, your sunroofs, your rims. These are amenities. Option packages, cold weather package, heated seats. These are amenities. You pay for this. Typically, now you could have an amenity that's a need. Like, oh, I need to have, people back in the day used to say, oh, I need to have the xenon lights because I really have a hard time seeing at night. And then LED lights came out, and then it was like, okay, I need to have the bright lights at night because I drive a lot, and if I can't see at night, that's a need. Now the sunroof might be a want. Again, needs versus wants. Third thing you're paying for is power. Power, the 4-cylinder engine versus the 6, they don't cost the same. They don't cost the same. So it's like, okay, do I need that bigger engine? Now you might say, see, I'm showing you when when in any category a need, well, in some of these categories, a want, any of these categories, it could be a need versus a want. So you have to assess this. And so in a perfect world, you're like, look, I'll take a small car, no amenities, point A to point B transportation. That's going to be something that was probably $20,000 brand new, 22, and you can find it for 10 grand, and it's not going to be that old or have that many miles. But if you're boosting up your size and you're boosting up your amenities and you're boosting up your power and you're boosting up this fourth category, which is what? Class. Class. Different classes of vehicles. Chevy, Ford, Hyundai, Honda, Toyota, economy class vehicles. Infiniti, Lincoln, Lexus. These are Genesis. See, when you go up in class, you can get the same size, same amenities, same power as the economy vehicles, but it's 5-10 grand more because you're in the next class up. Do you need to be in that class, or do you want to be? If this is making sense, type a dollar sign if this is making sense. These are what that's, and the reason I'm telling you this, because if you have an unlimited budget, get the big vehicle with all the amenities, with the power, and in the highest class. I want the big, huge Mercedes truck with all the bells and whistles. I want the big, huge BMW SUV with 3 rows and all the amenities. You get all your wants and your needs when your budget is unlimited. But if your budget is not unlimited, you have to look at, what am I paying for? What can I take out if the budget becomes compromised? And the last thing is exclusivity. So a vehicle could be, exclusivity means there's just not a lot of them out there. So limited production, limited edition, there's only a few out there. So you pay for those things. So what I would tell you, Stacy, is to identify those categories, wants versus needs, and say, okay, what's the minimum? If I'm on a low income or fixed income, I'm looking and saying, what's the minimum things that I can get that will satisfy my needs? When you're on a fixed income, low income, you are only going to needs first. Okay, I need this, need this, need this, need this. Everything else becomes second. And that's if you start there, start there, and then you're gonna be on a much better foundation to find what you want. Okay? Great question. All right. I'm glad y'all got value out of that. I see that. I see y'all. All right, go ahead, Dolan. Shoot the next one up. Okay, this is I Sign Mobile Notary from Instagram. Why do they make me wait so long? What kind of tactic is that? It's a tactic that works. It's a tactic that works. See, we want to see the illusion of thinking you're getting a good deal inside a dealership has been perpetuated for many years. If you're new here, I'm going to make a bold statement to some of the people who have been here. If this is your first time on the stream with us, type a 1 in the comment. Type a 1 in the number 1 in the comment so we could. And if you've been here with us before a couple times or even a second time, then I want you to type the word welcome for all the new people. But I'm gonna make a statement right now that some people who've been here with us know very well. It is impossible for you to get your best deal or even a great deal inside a dealership. Impossible. Because you don't have anything to compare your offer to. So you have someone who's telling you a price, but yet you don't have anything to compare it to. And who you should be comparing that, what you should be comparing that price to is other people's prices who sell the same product. So if you're in a Honda dealership, I'm going to open up some more understanding for you. every Honda dealership has a different price. So 10 Honda dealers that all have a black Honda Accord are all going to sell that Accord for a different price. Some people are going to try, they're all willing to sell it for a different price. So when you get that, you don't know which one you're in. And we've been helping people all around the country shop since the pandemic. 2021, when I came to TikTok and we started teaching, we started our company and we started putting out educational products that people could use to learn how to shop the Cars from Home way. So the Cars from Home way is about getting bids, and it's about being at home or your office or whatever. Shout out to the people tapping the screen on TikTok. Thank y'all. Y'all running those likes up. Every time you hear something you like, or if you're like, man, this is good, you just start tapping the screen and you'll keep running those likes up. We appreciate you. But the Cars from Home way is where you're in control and you're talking to multiple dealers while you're at home. In fact, the Cars from Home way is you're not even talking, you're communicating through email, online, with multiple dealers while you're at home. Because now you're in control. And now you have the leverage, and you have the only thing that you can use to get and guarantee the best prices, which is other offers. Other offers. So 80%, that's 8 out of 10 dealers are overpriced. 8 out of 10. So remember, going back to what I just said, those 10 Honda dealers, 8 of them are overpriced. And we have the proof because we know. You guys know I share tons of people from all around the country who use my strategies, who get deals and report their deals to me. Some of them are in my private group. But I have the luxury, rather, of knowing what's going on all around the country. So, of course, I can get deals because I've been in the car business since 2006. But when we put this information out and we started seeing everyone else getting these below market deals that I share throughout the show, that let me know. But what is not up for debate, because we have the luxury of all this data, is 8 out of 10 dealers are overpriced. So we must get 5 offers to get to a best price, at least 5, sometimes 7. Now, that same thing with used cars. You must look at the whole market and see where the market prices are, see where the high side of the market is, because you can't get a below market price on a used car without knowing what the market price is. And there should be a $5,000 difference between the below market offers and the high market offers. So when you say, why does it take so long? It's because that's the traditional car shopping process that makes car dealers the most money. I'm going to bleed you out. I'm going to tire you out. I'm going to get you so tired, you're going to say, look, I really don't want to do this again. Do we want to go sit in another dealer? Because that's all you know. You want to go sit in another dealer for 4 hours? Come on, you've already been here for 4 hours. You might as well just make the deal. I mean, I know it's a little higher than you thought it would be. You know, you wanted to be at 490, but you're at 620. I mean, you know, look, at the end of the day, you know the prices are high. They've been high, but here's the good thing. They're not as high as they were 3 years ago. In 2021, they were really high. Now, yeah, they're a little higher than they used to be, but do you really want to do this? See what I'm just telling y'all. And this is for the car salesman that I know watch my streams. It's like, oh, this guy couldn't make it in the car business. Couldn't make it in the car business. You're giving yourself too much credit about what it takes to be successful in the car business. We are tiring you out and trying to take away what we know leads to great deals, which is you not even talking numbers in a dealership. See, what I teach everyone, anyone who listens to me, any of the people I showed you and people around the country that are like, yo, I only use what Deshone teaches, they're never talking numbers in a dealership. They're never negotiating back and forth in a dealership, because that's a losing strategy. Your power, your leverage is sitting at home, seeing all the options, seeing all the market, not wasting your time going into dealers, driving back home. Oh, they wasted my time. No, we don't do any of that. So my best advice for you is to step out of that old way and embrace the new way. This is everything I teach in my book, Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. That's everything I teach in my social media videos. You guys never hear me, and I praise God. We have almost we probably got like 2.2 million, 2.3 million followers across all our platforms. You have never heard me say negotiate in a dealership in any of my videos, and you never will. So embrace what we're talking about here. Embrace the new way, which is empowerment, which is control, which is you being the prize and making people bid for your business. And you'll see, and you'll be the one telling those people out there, yo, stop going in these dealerships, y'all. Because once you embrace the new way, you're like, man, I should have been doing this a long time ago. So everyone who's new to the stream, you can get your copy of Cars from Home, my new digital book, in my TikTok bio, in my Instagram bio, or you can go to deshonesbook.com. We have a link in the comment section for you. And you can get your copy for 75% off. It's normally $97, but you can get your copy for $24 as long as you get there before the 30-minute timer goes to zero. Once it's zero, you're paying $97, which is still an incredible price considering what you're going to save using those strategies. Okay, go ahead, Dolan, shoot the next one in. Great question. We're just going, exactly, Skinner. We're just going there to test drive, and that's only like 10 minutes. Exactly. New cars, leases, we're only there to test drive. That's it. Okay, Sean Love from IG. Can I shop for a car with frozen credit? You can absolutely shop for a car with frozen credit because you don't need to give access to your credit to get offers, be it lease offers. And I'm not going to say purchase offers, because when we're getting purchase offers, we're getting them tax, plates, fees, everything included, out the door prices. So if we're getting out the door prices, then we don't need to give our credit for out the door price. Now, a lot of times when you're shopping for out the door prices, dealers are going to say, well, would you be willing to finance with us? Because some dealers, usually the 80%, won't give you a better price unless you're going to give them give them the loan. Now, we're not willing to work with those people. We're going to starve those people, but we are willing to work with the people who say, will you give us an opportunity to get your business on the loan? That we will do. That we will do. Some of you have heard, oh, I'll never let the dealers run my credit. I always come in pre-approved. I always come in with my bank. I always do this. I don't believe in that, and I don't teach that, because, again, what do I teach? Bids. See, it's not your bank. You don't own the bank. So it's a for-profit entity that makes money giving loans. And if you really recognize the fact that they don't sell cars, they don't buy cars, but they're in the loan business, now you'll start to see how much money is in the loan business. And once you see how much money is in the loan business, you'll see why you need to be getting multiple offers for your loans. Because 1 point on an interest rate on a $30,000 car could be $1,000. Some of you are buying $50,000 cars. 1 point could be $2,000. 1 point. Depending on your term, how much you're borrowing, that's a lot of money, thousands of dollars in loans. So that's the only part where we give access to our credit, is when it's time to talk the loan. But we separate our transactions into 3, maximum of 3. All of you are not going to use 3, but there's a max 3 transactions in a car dealership, or I'm sorry, when you're getting a car. And from this day forward, I want you to see them as 3, and you'll realize how much money you've been giving to dealerships, because the 3 parts of the transaction are, who am I going to sell my old car to? Not trade. That's 1 transaction. There's companies out there that buy cars. They want to buy your car. They want to buy our cars. We want to get bids. Then, who am I going to get my loan from? As I said, there's companies that want to give us loans. We want to get bids. And then who am I going to buy my next car from? That's 3. And we're getting bids for that. And the beautiful thing about online tools is it allows you to sit at home and get bids in minutes. That's the beautiful thing. So I can get bids on all these things in a matter of minutes, sit at home and guarantee I got below market prices on everything. I got the most money I could get for my old car. I got the best loan I could get, and I got the below market price on the new car. So until I'm ready to actually get my loan, which is after I've already got my car locked up, I'm not ready to get my loan yet. What do I need a loan for and I haven't found my car yet? Once I find my car, lock it up, boom, come on home. I'm gonna leave my deposit. I'm going home to talk to my bank and some other banks, and I'll call you tomorrow. Now I'm going home. Now it's time to unfreeze my credit and start getting offers from banks and credit unions. And then whatever offers and banks from banks and credit unions I get, I'm gonna call the dealership and say, hey, if you can beat these offers or you can beat the best offer I got here, I'll give the business to you. Because the dealership has another 7 or 8 or 10 or 15 banks that they may want to put against. See, y'all see how the language I'm using? You'll see, oh, it sounds easier to save money that way because you got all these people competing. Is that making sense? Type MS if it like makes sense. Everybody who's like, yeah, this all makes sense. Type MS. It's easy to save money when you have people competing. It's hard to save money when you're talking to one person and you're begging them to give you a deal. All right? Good question. Go ahead, Dolan, shoot the next one in, my man. Perfect. I see you, Carissa. I see you, Tigress. I see you, WSM on TikTok. I see you, I'm Chanel. Okay, Tigress from YouTube. Hey, Deshone, I have a 2007 truck that I purchased new. Awesome. I've saved money over the years to buy a new truck. Should I pay cash or should I get a loan? Great question. Great question. Now, there's no right or wrong here, but there's wrong for you based on your situation because I don't teach one size fits all. Do this. Everyone who's in her position, do this. No. Again, I'm an advisor, so let's go deep on your situation or when it makes sense to pay cash, when it doesn't. What are you doing with your money? So a lot of people don't realize all cash is, unless you hit the lottery, is saved up payments. Some people say, oh, I don't want a car payment. Who's heard that? Type me if you've heard, or maybe that's you. I don't want a car payment. I don't like car notes. Again, I believe, and this is just my opinion, I believe that's programming. Why do I believe that's programming? Because you don't say that about your electric bill. You don't say that about your car insurance. You don't say that about your phone bill. You don't say that about your rent or your mortgage. You don't say none of this stuff about these utilities and these life things that we buy that you make payments on, either monthly, quarterly. It's only the cars. And it wouldn't be a problem if the people who were saying this weren't putting themselves in a position where they're trying to save up the cash to get the car. And then because they only have a limited amount of cash, they end up getting a below quality car or a lower quality car. See, again, we talked a little earlier in the stream about leverage. So even if I save up cash, I may want to use all that cash and then leverage a little to make sure I get the best car I can get. Especially you, Tigers, considering the fact that you're keeping your cars for a long time. If you plan on keeping this car, anywhere near as long as you've kept this last one, then you want to get something that's going to satisfy you and you want that you're going to be happy with in the long run. So here's how I found out paying cash wasn't right for everybody. It's important for you guys to understand the origin. So I'm sitting in a dealership. I was blessed to work in a blue and white collar community where I had some customers made $50,000 a year, and some customers made $50,000 a month. I had a lot of Wall Street customers, a lot of finance customers. And so these are the conversations I was having. That's why when I'm talking to you and advising you, I'm advising you from a financial advisor conversation. And I would have people who would come in and had the ability to pay cash, but they would ask me, well, what are the rates this month? Sometimes I'm like, hey, actually they have 0% on this vehicle this month, or they got 1.99% for 60 months, or 1.99% for 36 months. And they're like, all right, I'm gonna do the loan. And then when I do the credit, see, now some people would say, some people who are pretty judgmental and unfortunately ill-informed and uninformed, oh, well, they just like debt. No, they actually like money and profit and financial returns. And so that's why they're considered, because their money is invested and it's making money for them, or they might just want to have their cash and they don't want to put it into a car that's going to give them a negative return. What do I mean by a negative return? Well, if you put your 25 grand in the car and then 5 years later you could come back and you could get your 25 grand out, that would be a zero return. That would be a net zero return. Your cash made you no money. That 25 grand, you pulled it out, you got no interest on it, you got no gains on it. But no, you can't get that 25 grand out. That 25 grand is in that car, and then that car in 5 years is probably worth $10,000. So it's a negative return on your cash. Where the same person may say, well, that same 25 grand, if I would have kept it in the market for 5 years, how much interest would I have gained on that 25 grand? Is this making sense? Type dollar signs if this is making sense. This is a financial conversation. That's why the only people who are going to do, there's people who are like, oh man, this is buying a car, man, this is not that serious. Well, then you're going to get the results of believing that it's not that serious, which is paying average prices or above average prices. But for those of you who are like, yeah, okay, a car is the second most expensive thing I'm going to buy, Deshone, and I'm going to buy them a lot more than houses. Yeah, I like to talk about financial strategy on how to get them and how to make sure I'm paying less than everybody. So now, again, it comes down to what you're doing with your money. So do you want to have your cash or do you not want to have your cash? And if you want to have your cash, you are not going to put it in a car. But if rates are high, then you are you don't want to leverage. You don't want to leverage, or you don't want to leverage much. You don't want to leverage much. I'm sorry, I just had to send a message. Okay, yeah, you don't want to leverage much. So two things to consider, Tigress. What is the rates on the car that you're buying? If there's any 0%, 1%, 2%, even 2.99%. You're either going to use that leverage, either a percentage or all of it, but it depends on what rates are and what you're doing with your money. Those are the two considerations. Is my money invested, making me money? If so, I want to put as little into the car as possible. But if rates are high, 7, 8, 9%, 10%, then I want to put as much as in the car as possible because I don't want to pay those rates on the car. Okay? Hope you're clear on that. Great question. Go ahead, Dolan. Sean Love from Instagram. Oh, we did that one. Sexy Queen from Instagram. What is the best way for a high school graduate to purchase their first vehicle? Well, there's a couple ways. Cash. Save up cash. I would get something from Facebook Marketplace from an owner. Very important that because if you don't have credit, I'm just going to assume you don't have credit. If you don't have credit, then your only option is going to be either pay cash or you possibly can do a buy here, pay here, but that wouldn't necessarily be my first option. Because without the strategies, and I teach about in my book, I teach about a buy here, pay here strategy for those who don't have the credit. And I'm going to tell you why I think I'm qualified to teach, because my second car I got when I was 21 was from a buy here, pay here dealership. It was about 2005. It's 2005, and it was a 97. This was about 8 years old, but it was a quality car, and it lasted me almost 7 years. See, the key is you can overpay for the car a little bit, but you cannot get a bad car, then you lost. See, because time heals all wounds with the car. you can pay, even if you overpaid by $5,000. If you keep the car 10 years, you don't feel it as much. If you overpaid by $5,000 and that car died on you in 3 years, you just lost $5,000. You lost $5,000 after tax money, which is really about $8,000 of your hard-earned money in a 3-year period. So my first option would probably be to save up cash, $3,000, and go get a car from Facebook Marketplace from an owner, not a dealer. Very important. And dealers will pose as owners on Facebook Marketplace. The reason you want an owner is because you want someone who knows everything about the car. They've had it for 8-9 years. They look at it, it could tell you everything about it. This dent right here, yeah, I was at the supermarket and this is what happened here. I maintenance this car like crazy. You want an owner. Now, if you don't have the cash, then I go buy here, pay here. Then I go buy here, pay here, because I'm just assuming you don't have credit. You're not going to get a cosigner. It's from a parent or anything like that. I wouldn't go into a dealership and look to get a 20 or a 15 or 20 or $50,000 or $15,000 car with no credit. I just don't see that being a good option. So that's how I worked. And by the way, for that car I got from a buy here, pay here dealer, I got it. I think I gave him $1,500. And I want to say that I made payments for probably 2 years on it. And it was great. It was great. So again, mission is quality car. Take a mechanic with you. Tell them, hey, I'm going to take this $100 and make sure a mechanic sees the car and make sure, they give you a nice, hey, stamp of okay, yeah, it's a good car, in my opinion. That's to be the best $100 you ever spent, because again, if you get a bad car, it is a failed mission. Failed to your bank account and your lifestyle. Okay? I worry more about a quality car than a great price. I know that sounds crazy because I like both. But again, if I had to choose one or the other, and I'm in your position, quality car all day long. I don't have the credit. Maybe I'll overpay a little bit for it, but quality car. Okay? Go ahead, Dolan. Great questions. Welcome to our 3 p.m. live, everybody. We will be live at 3 p.m. Monday through Thursday. Every now and then I might do a bonus show on Friday, but we will be live Monday through Thursday. And anytime you don't see the banner above me, we're live. Okay? Podrowski from TikTok. My Lexus IS 250, finally done paying it off. Would a lease or finance be a better option? This is what I'm going to tell you something. I'm not clowning you with what I'm about to tell you, but this is a big example of what I teach people they should not be doing. I used to be in a Mercedes dealership, and when I was in there, people would come up to me and be like, they would know my name. Hey, can I ask you a question? Yes, sir. That's the new one? That's the new model? Yeah, that's the new one. Just came out. All right, I got 3 payments left on mine. I'm gonna come talk to you about that. Now, there's several schools of thought. There's 2 big schools of thought that's wrong with this. And I'm talking wrong financially. One, you thought you had to pay off the car to replace the car. That's the less painful one, because, who was taught I must pay off my car before I replace the car? I must wait, get the title in my hand, and then go replace the car. Who was taught that? I cannot do anything with my car until it's paid off and I have the title. And then I can go shop for a different one. Who was taught that? Okay? I see you, Deshone Irvin. Thanks for being honest. Shout out to the people who are being honest, because you're the ones that's going to win. See, the people who can't be honest with themselves, you can't win because you're delusional. Acceptance and, you won't be honest with yourself. It's harder for you to win, rather. So if hold on, I want to pull up and see Instagram, because I like to have Instagram comments too. I know we can't, with the way the software is, we can't see Instagram. There we go. Now I can see Instagram. I like to shout out Instagram. Okay, so, and the second thing, which is the more dangerous thing about this, is that you buy cars that you don't keep. You pay all this money for them and then you go replace them as soon as you pay them off. So one of the downfalls when we start talking about purchasing versus leasing, now, Podrosky, I already know that your best financial structure, based on if you continue to do this, is leasing. You don't know that yet, and you don't realize that you're overpaying by thousands and thousands of dollars. Like thousands of dollars more every year is coming out of your household than someone who understands how to get great lease deals. Because what you're doing is this is what I call the depreciation scale. Okay? This is what I also call the unseen expense. The unseen expense is, if you buy a car today for $35,000, what's that car worth tomorrow? What's that car worth tomorrow? If you brought that car back the next day, you literally bought it for 35, brought it back the next day to replace it. Is that car still worth 35? Exactly, Deshone Irvin, 32 at best. At best. Because now you're competing with the new market. The new market was 35. Now your car isn't new. It's lost $3,000. It's, again, in order for you to see what I'm about to break down, you must see the unseen expense. And people who don't understand leasing don't understand it's not that you don't understand leasing, you don't understand depreciation. You don't understand depreciation. So depreciation is your enemy. That's how, what Deshone just said, your $35,000 car you just got today, you come back tomorrow, it's worth 32 at best. It's worth 30,000. But watch this. Let's go deeper on depreciation. Let's say I come to you, Podrosky. I say, I'm going to give you a $35,000 car. You say, Deshone, I don't need the car. I already have plenty of cars. Everybody in my house has a car. I can't use it. I said, well, I'm giving it to you. Well, it's yours. And I parked that car outside your house, $35,000 car. You like, well, I can't use it. That car just going to sit there. You come back a year later, you never drove it 1 mile. Is that car worth 35? Is that car worth 35? You didn't drive it. You never touched it. You never even you just started it because you said, I don't want the engine to mess up, so I'm going to just start it every couple days. Is that car worth 35,000? Exactly. Maybe 25. Exactly, Lundy Culture. No. Depreciation. Unseen expense. Did you make any payments on that car? Did you make any payments on that car? No, it was a gift, right? It was a gift. Didn't cost you anything. I said, you know what I did? I paid the insurance for you too. That car cost you nothing, but $10,000 was lost in depreciation at best. We never touched it. Now you're starting to understand this. See, when you understand that this is how a car depreciates in the first year, 2 years, 3 years, it goes like this. And what you're doing, those of you who don't understand leasing, you really don't understand this. Because what you're doing is you're buying your cars, you're paying the cars off, or you're paying, and you're replacing them while the depreciation is like this. Now, there comes a point in a car's life cycle where the depreciation looks like this. This is about year 5, year 6. It's not as drastic. But then there becomes a time where who's got a car outside that's more than 8 years old? Type the number of years that you've had that car. If you have a car outside right now in your driveway, because we're trying to help Podrosky and the people just like him. The thousands of people on here that's like, Deshone, you ain't just talking to Podrosky, you talking to me. I do the same thing. I buy my cars, I don't lease, and I just trade them in. I replace them in 3 years, in 2 years, in 5 years. Look, Steffi got a 16-year-old vehicle outside. Deshone got a 20-year-old vehicle outside. Elamu got a 2016. Look, Raphael got a 2016. All right, look, 2002 Honda. Look at Christy, 2002 Honda. Look, Twan got a 14-year-old car. Look, Ty O'Brien, 11-year-old car. Now watch this. You've seen the initial depreciation curve is this. Worst time to replace the car is here if you own it. You're losing the most money in depreciation here. Then it starts to look like this. Year 5, year 6, year 7. But then when you get to what I just was rolling off with all of these people who are willing to share how their cars like this. What that means is you reach a point where you now are in the reward stage because your car today might be worth $9,000, might just only be worth $9,000. But what is it going to be worth a year from now? Probably $8,800. Probably $8,800, $8,300, $8,700. Some of you who've had these cars, your car next year is going to be worth the exact same amount it's worth today. You're not going to lose anything in depreciation anymore. So all that money you paid, now you're at the stage where it benefits you. It's the worst thing in the world when you're replacing cars like this because you're losing value. You're paying all this money. So there's only 2 ways to avoid the depreciation hit. Only 2 ways. Now you understand the depreciation. Type $signs if you understand the depreciation based on what I just laid out. Now I'm going to tell you the only 2 ways to avoid the depreciation hit. There's only 2 ways. You're going to be like Steffi and Raphael and Twan and Brown Sugar with her 2012 Chrysler. You're going to be like these people. And you're going to go for your win with long-term ownership. Long-term ownership. I'm going to buy a car. I'm definitely going to keep it in the while it's in the high depreciation phase, and I'm going to keep it at least 8 years. I'm going to keep it at least 8 years. That's why I created in my book, step 1. My book is called Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. Link in the comment section, deshonsbook.com, or in my TikTok bio, Instagram bio. You get your copy for 75% off for 30 minutes. Step 1 is the most important question, the 8-year rule. We can't put you on a good foundation until we ask the foundational question, which is, how many years are you keeping the next car? So all of you who are like, you're shopping for a car now, or you will be, or when you watch this video, you will be, the first question you want to ask yourself is, how many years am I keeping the car? That's this question. And you're going to see this in your mind's eye. This is what you're going to see. How many years am I keeping the car I'm buying? 5? If it's not 8, you shouldn't be buying. Because the only way to avoid the big depreciation is to buy, keep, or to get great lease deals. That's it. There's no other way. See, when you look at people like, pull anybody up. Look at people like Jared. Jared got a 2024 Volkswagen Tiguan. He's paying $520 a month. That's probably a $43,000 vehicle, something like that. $43,000 vehicle. Every $5,000, y'all, and this is what I'm showing you. Jared's not keeping his car more than 8 years. That's why he's leasing, because his goal is to avoid depreciation that purchasers are paying. Now, here's another benefit of leasing. When you get great lease deals, you pay pennies on the dollar for these brand new cars compared to people who purchase them. Every $5,000 some of you know who have seen this before, every $5,000 in the price of a car or a loan is how much per month? Steffi, with anytime you're on here, it's best to ask questions versus make statements, because mileage has not asked a question about the mileage you do. Don't assume because you drive a lot, oh, then I can't lease. I shouldn't be leasing, because that's a wrong assumption. See, and we'll go into that. You just gave me an idea for our next question, because we're going to use this as a continued teaching topic, because I know a lot of people are like, Deshone, well, I heard you could only drive 10,000 miles a year when you lease, or I heard that they limit you. I heard you get paid tax for the mileage, all this stuff you heard. And the reason you're not leasing is because of what you heard. And what you heard is costing you money. So, all right, so look at that. So you're right, Mario. So going back to Jared, every $5,000 on a purchase price of a car is $100 per month. Is $100 per month. So when you on a 5-year loan, So when you're looking at a $20,000 car, you should automatically be saying that's about $400 a month. When you're looking at a $40,000 car, you should be saying that's about $800 a month. And so when you go back to Jared's deal, who got a Tiguan, which is about $43,000, he's paying $520 a month. That same car to purchase would be about $8 something a month, maybe even $900. Some of you on here might have a Tiguan, and you're like, Deshone, you're right. You know, I didn't put any money down. I'm paying like $800 a month for my Tiguan, paying like, you know, high sevens. Maybe if you got a 6-year loan or a 7-year loan, God forbid, maybe you're paying lower than that. But that's the only way. So when you look at how Jared's winning, he's winning because he paid pennies on the dollar to get this car. So when he adds up all his payments is $520 a month. Let's add those up. $520 a month times 36 months, he's paying 18 grand for a $43,000 car. 43,000 plus taxes and fees, your figure's about 46. He's paying 18 grand over 3 years. So he's avoided the depreciation because he got great lease deals. That's the only two ways. So this is a great question. And I wanted to answer it with, I know you asked, is lease or finance the best option? And so I wanted to answer it and go deep on it. If you're not keeping your car 8 years, if you're not keeping this next car 8 years, then you should be leasing all day long. And what you do is you sell that car to the highest bidder, get that cash, and then your next lease is going to be a zero down, no money down, or a little. You might want to put a little down, but we shop for all our leases with zero out of pocket except the first month's payment. That's how we shop for our leases, and you're going to love it. Because you're gonna see like, dang, the same Lexus that I got that was a $45,000 Lexus, I could have leased that Lexus and I could have got it for probably $4 something a month, $500 a month. But I paid a lot more than that just to turn around and sell it as soon as I was done paying. And that's what I want you to get away from. Okay? Great question. Now, don't pull the next question up, Dolan, because I want to talk to Steffi and the people like Steffi. You can put Podrosky's question down, though, please. All right. So let's talk to the people like Steffi who's like, I heard that you can't lease because I drive too much. Or I heard that, you know, leasing wouldn't be good for me because I drive too much. All right, let's go back here to the unseen expense. Because again, anyone who I always say it's depreciation you don't understand. And once you understand depreciation, you'll understand leasing. Okay? Look at this. This is your average driver. That's your average driver's depreciation. If this is what your average driver loses, what does the high mileage driver depreciation curve look like? If this is average, this is probably high mileage. You're destroying the value of your car. See, the unseen expense is meant to show you that you pay for what you use. In fact, based on what we said in our last question, you even pay whether you use the car or not. You don't, again, let's say you did have me park the $35,000 car outside your house. In my last example, we parked the $35,000 car out of your house. You didn't need it, so you just let it sit out there, and you came back a year later, and it was worth $8,000, $10,000 less. It was worth $35,000 the day it was given to you. You didn't drive it 1 mile, and you come back a year later, and it's worth $27,000. You lost $8,000 of value, and you never put a mile on the car. Now, what would happen if you put 20,000 miles on that car? What would how much less? That car's worth a lot less, right? Talking to you high mileage drivers like Steffi. If you're driving over 18,000, 20,000 miles, you're losing thousands more than average drivers in depreciations. Thousands more in depreciation. So that $30,000 car that would be worth 23 to the average driver, your car, when you put 20,000 on it, you lost 10, 12,000. It's worth thousands less. So there's 2 strategies I teach for high mileage drivers in my book, Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships, because I know some of you are like, Deshone, I don't want to remember all of this. This is great, but give me the blueprint. Give me the step-by-step blueprint. That's my new digital book, Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. In my TikTok bio, my Instagram bio, or go to deshonesbook.com in the comment section. If you're watching us on TV, you can scan that QR code with your mobile phone and you can get your copy for 75% off. You won't pay the normal price of $97. And thanks to everybody who got us to a 4.95 rating on goodreads.com. Now, 2 strategies I teach, really 3, but one's for the long-term driver, because you could be a long-term high mileage driver, you shouldn't be leasing. We said earlier, some of you have cars out there that you have 8, 9, 10, 12, 15 years old. If that's you, you shouldn't be leasing. If I'm gonna keep a car, let's say I drive 25,000 miles a year, high mileage, but I want to keep a car 8 years. I don't mind keeping a car 8 years. I'm not leasing. I'm gonna go find me a car, 25,000 miles, 25 times 8, that's only 200,000. I'm gonna go find a car and I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna get a great deal on it, and I'm gonna keep it and put 200,000 miles on that car. Not in the lease. The lease only comes in when I'm trying to replace a car before the 8-year mark, because I'm in the deepest state of depreciation. And someone who's leasing, somebody like Jared who's leasing, somebody like Danielle who's leasing, paying pennies on the dollar for her Audi, $550 a month, $44,000 Audi, $690 a month. Tope is paying for a $54,000 BMW. People like this, they're absolutely destroying you financially because they're driving the same cars as you for pennies on the dollar, and you're buying your cars and you're replacing them in there. So if I'm not keeping 8 years, now I'm going to do one of 2 things, either a high mileage lease, and I'm either going to do a high mileage lease, or I'm going to do a strategy that I teach called 2 cars, 1 payment. High mileage lease is for somebody who wants to drive a car, same car. I had a gentleman that I met when I worked at Hyundai. I was a manager at Hyundai for a short period of time, and this is where I learned this from. I never really seen a high mileage lease before this. I came in, I was helping him return his lease, doing the paperwork for him. And I saw a car had like 72,000 miles on it. And I'm like, this is a lease? You leased this? He said, yeah, I always lease. I said, wait a minute. Can you help me explain? Help me understand this. He said, well, I used to buy my cars. I put a ton of miles on them because I'm in sales. I come back, every time I replaced them, I had a ton of negative equity, or I had to put like 10, 15 grand down. And every time I came to replace them, I didn't get any money back. So I was just putting so much money into these cars. And then I started leasing. Never had to do that. I lease, I drive them 3 years, I come drop them off, I go get a new one. And so when I saw his payment, I saw he was only paying like $175 or $200 more than the normal Hyundai Sonata lease. So he paid a little bit extra every month, and he got a hassle-free experience. He got all the mileage he needed, and he's loving life, and he's not losing money anymore like he was losing. There's no more negative equity anymore like he was dealing with. And I said, wow, from that day forward, I started teaching about high mileage leases for people who don't keep their cars more than 8 years. So the high mileage lease is for that type of person, but the 2 cars, 1 payment is for a person who wants to have a nice car as well that they don't beat up, or they want to have a luxury car. And they're like, Deshone, I drive a lot, man, but I really want to get me a nice car. I want to get me like something nice, I could go out to dinner with, I could go on vacation with, and I don't want to just do that in the car and putting all this mileage on. No problem. So what you're going to do is you're going to buy your first car, or if you have a car that you already are making payments on, you're going to pay that car off. And then once that car is paid off, now, instead of putting all the mileage on that 1 car, you're going to go lease your second car and get a regular 10,000 mile lease or 12,000 mile a year lease. And then you're going to split the mileage between the 2 cars. So you only have 1 payment all the way. So I might get like a Honda Accord, and now I'm putting all the mileage on that, but I pay the Honda Accord off in 5, 6 years, whatever. Once the Honda Accord's paid off, I'm going to go get me a brand new lease, and that's going to be my nice car, and then I'm just splitting the mileage between the 2 cars. I got my nice car, I got my mileage car, and that mileage car might last me another 6 or 7 or 8 years, because now I'm only putting a few miles a year on it. So that's 2 high mileage strategies. They're both in my book. They're both in my book step by step. And I call them, and they're thousands. They'll keep thousands of more dollars in your household versus what high mileage drivers are doing now, buying cars and then coming replacing them. I used to hate when people walked in a dealership, Uber drivers. Hey, listen, man, I need a new car, man. This thing got 240,000 miles on it. But then I pull their loan and I see they still owe 15 grand. Like, man, you still owe 15 grand. Yeah, I just put so many miles on the car. No, this is wrong structure. And Uber drivers, you should be doing something a little different. You should be only getting a loan that matches when you're going to replace the car. I'm not going to go into detail because nobody asked that question yet. But you should only be getting a loan that matches when you're going to replace the car. By the time you go to replace the car should be paid off. I mean, literally, you're letting $100, $200 a month make you have 10, 15 grand or more of negative equity when you replace these cars, and it's a horrible financial strategy. So I hope, did we put that to bed? Do we have an understanding? Is everybody clear on that? If you're clear, you know what I like to say, type $sign if you're clear and you understood that. So we just went over the last 20 minutes. We've gone deep. This is something you've never heard before, and it's based on a real lesson on depreciation. See, we always hear those terms of cars are depreciating asset, cars are depreciating asset, cars are depreciating asset. What does that mean, though? Well, how about we talk about depreciation first? Once we understand depreciation, we can understand how to acquire depreciating assets in the best way possible. And as I said, there's only 2 ways to avoid the biggest losses, which is in that 1 to 5 to 7 year period. And that's either going to be with long-term ownership or with phenomenal lease deals. No in between. No in between. Go ahead, Dolan, shoot the next one up, brother. E. Lewis from Instagram. Is it negative to purchase a vehicle with an accident on the Carfax? Great question. Well, there's different types of accidents. They're not all created equal. I like to use the Carfax because they'll give you a little description of the accident. If the auto check will do that, great. If any other vehicle report will do that, great. But I like to see the differences in the accidents. Now, some people will say, Deshone, I don't want a car with an accident. Well, if your budget gets you the best car, and there are other things we take into account besides accidents, like service records and the type of title it is. Is it a rental? Is it a personal lease? Is it a corporate lease? Is it a personal vehicle? Is it a salvage title? So there's other things besides accidents that we look at when we're buying a pre-owned car. But just to focus on accidents, sometimes you'll see minor accident. Sometimes you'll see vehicle was drivable. Now, I like that even better. Because vehicle was drivable means everyone drove away from the accident. Usually, if your bumper is hanging off, you're not driving away from the accident. What I don't like, what are deal breakers for me, vehicle towed. Vehicle towed. What are also deal breakers for me, when you look on the Carfax or you see the accident report and you see that it was hit in the front and back same time. That means it was a 3-car accident. At minimum, deal breaker for me. Airbags deployed. These are serious accidents, and these are things that are deal breakers for me. So depending on what I'm looking at, if I narrowed my search down on a pre-owned car and everything else was great on that car, and I'm talking about title, great, service records, incredible, and then when I narrow it down and I look at the true value percentage, and many of you have never heard about this before, and I'm going to tell you why you've never heard about this before, because I created it. So it's not that you didn't do your research or you're not smart. It's just the fact that the things I'm teaching, I created them. Praise the Lord. He gave me unique things. Look, there's nothing wrong with people who teach other people's stuff, because maybe sometimes other people's stuff needs to be taught. But what I saw is, I had to create things, and I love math. So it wasn't, I love math. And a lot of what I'm teaching was really created out of my love for math and numbers and being able to see that, people are losing with this. So, but when we look at if I narrowed it down to my best cars, and then I look at something I created called the true value percentage. Now, the true value percent, who's bought a used car in their life? I want you to type the letter U in the comments. Type the letter U, and shout out to y'all. I see y'all running the likes up on TikTok. Appreciate y'all. Every time you hear something you like, if you could just tap the screen, and shout out to the people who tagged a friend. Your friends will enjoy. Listen, if you think your friends won't thank you for tagging them in this, then I think everyone knows. Like, man, one friend, who, at least your best friend, you know, your best friend, you should be sharing this with your best friend. Oh, listen, girl, you got to hear this. Ain't you car shopping? You know, you your best friend. But shout out to y'all who help us share this broadcast. All right, so now all of you who typed the letter U, who's gotten a used car in your life, or you're gonna be shopping for a used car. You know, I'm gonna get ready to. I'm gonna say something, and this is a bold statement, right? There's no way that you can guarantee you got a great price on that used car without knowing how much it was originally. We typically look at used car prices and we say, well, how the heck do I know that that's a good price? All right, I see they asking $27,000 for this car. How do I know that that's a good price? And then we'll typically use algorithm sites to actually show us that, right? Which means we'll go to NADA, go to Kelly's Blue Book. Hey, Kelly's Blue Book said you should be selling this for this price. Based on what, though? Based on what? Based on algorithms, which mean and not sales algorithms. See, real estate's different because we know what the house is sold for, and then we create comparable sales reports so we can see, oh, every house in this neighborhood sold around $300,000 to $325,000. So why are you asking $400,000 for this house, right? But with cars, no one knows what they actually sold for. So all of the algorithm sites is really based on what they see the cars listed for. That's why many people got in trouble, and I was trying to warn them against this during the pandemic when they were actually buying cars that the market value said this was fair market value. But, and this is what spawned me to create the true value percentage. The original price of these cars, we had people buying Toyota Camrys that were $31,000 brand new, paying $30,000 for them. So if I was to look and say, all right, go back to my calculator, this car was $31,000, and now you're selling it to me, or you're offering it for it was $31,000, and now you're offering it for $30,000. That's a 96% true value percentage. You're paying 96% of the new price for a 3-year-old Toyota Camry. You see how that clearly makes you say, oh, that's a horrible deal. But when you're just looking at a used car and you're like, okay, I see you asking 30 for this. You may not know. So the true value percentage is super critical. It's the only thing that you can use. And when I was shopping for my Infinity truck, I narrowed it down to 4. Using in my book, I teach a strategy called the multiple marketplace strategy, where we, with new cars and leases, we use the 25 to 5. We're connecting with 25 dealers to get to get 5 offers. But with pre-owned cars, we're doing multiple marketplace. So we're on all the marketplaces where cars are, and we're now sorting them down to find our best one. But I had sorted down, and I got my top 4 white Infinity trucks. They were all white because that was the color I wanted. And then I looked, and they were all between $30,000 and $32,000. So this is, again, you're like, yo, this is where it gets tricky, right? Because you're like, oh, well, all these trucks kind of look the same. Mileage was, between 26 and 35, 36. So I'm like, okay, now let me tell you how not knowing the true value percentage, not knowing what the cars were originally priced, you can lose thousands of dollars. So on paper, or rather online, I could get any one of these, right? I get any one of them. They're all in a similar price range. They're all white. I'd be happy with any one of them on paper, online. But when I pulled the original prices, I saw that one of them was $46,000 brand new. One of them was $48,000 brand new. One of them was $52,000 brand new. And then the one that said fair deal, because one of the websites it was on said fair deal. And for the other ones, it said good deal, great deal. The one I ended up getting that was $55,000 brand new said fair deal. But even though it was a higher price they were asking than the other three, it was the biggest discount off the original price. Y'all getting that? So what I ended up getting was a $54,500 vehicle, and I got about 43% off of it. I paid $31,800. So had I picked any one of those other cars, I would have lost, because I'm only getting a little bit off I'm getting less off the original price. Doesn't matter what the dealer's asking. Doesn't matter if you go in there. I take a car that has a higher true value percentage, a higher discount off the new car price, even if the dealer's not willing to discount. Man, I can't discount it anymore. This other dealer might be willing to take off $3,000, but it's not a higher true value percentage. So we must get the original price of the car. You could get it through the window sticker. You could ask the dealer to try to get your window sticker. I have some strategies I teach in my book about how to access a Carfax to get the original window sticker, or websites or links to get the original window sticker. But I will never buy a used car without getting the original window sticker, because I don't know what's in the car and I don't know what discount I'm getting off the brand new price. Okay? It's a lot. It's a lot. But praise the Lord. You know, I love doing it. I'm uniquely qualified to do this. Praise the Lord. And that's why I'm teaching you, so that once you use what you're learning from me, you can go and you can teach your family. Because this stuff is simple once you actually get it. It's just rinse and repeat. You just unfortunately, you got programmed. You got programmed on how to buy a car. Go ahead, Dolan. You can shoot the next question up. You got programmed on how to do certain things. And once you unlearn that bad programming, now you can do things the right way. And that's how you teach your kids and your family. And now you break the cycle of this bad car buying and this money loss. Christy Love. Christy Love on Instagram. If I co-sign for my daughter's car and I want to get a new one for myself, how hard will it be to get me a car? She got a new car and it's been a year now. Well, it depends on your credit profile, not just your credit score. Now, if your credit score is probably the most important part of your credit profile, but it's not your only part. A person could have a 700 score, but they only have credit cards. That's not as heavy as a profile as a person with a 700 score that has 3 paid off cars in the past. They've had 3 car loans, paid them all off. But the two things I like to focus on when it comes to credit is score and something called comparable credit. When the bank pulls your credit report, are they going to see a car loan? Are they going to see a previous car loan paid? Now, here's another part when you're trying to get another car and you have a car, income. Because now they're going to look at your debt, how much you owe every month, how much your obligations are, and how much you bring in. So if you have the income to support a second car, then you can get one, or you have a better shot at getting one, because here's what they're assuming, or here's what they're looking at. However much your daughter's car payment is, if your income would only qualify you for that payment, then they're not going to loan you more. If your income says, well, I could afford a $600 car payment, your income may say that. Now you co-signed for your daughter's car and her car payment is $500. Because you're saying, well, I don't make that payment though every month. In the bank's eyes, they're looking and saying, if her daughter misses the payment, she's going to have a hard decision to make. Who is she going to pay, that car or us? See what I'm saying? That's what the bank is looking at. That's why having the income to support a second car is really what's going to be the difference maker. The bank's going to say, the bank always looks at the worst case scenario. Based on your income, if your daughter misses a payment, that's attached to your credit too. This is where the cosigner becomes important. Cosign is not important when the payments are being made on time. Things don't get messy until the payments get missed. Now you got a cosign deal over here, and you got your personal car here, and your income says I can only afford one of these. Who am I paying? So the biggest indicator of if you're going to be able to get another car with being a cosigner, or if you're going to have to pay a higher interest rate, is going to be if you have the income to support the second car. If you have the income and you have the credit score, then you should be just fine. Thank you, Brown Sugar. Said we appreciate you. Absolutely. Thank you so much. This is what we do. Go ahead, Dolan. Shoot the next question in. We got a couple more. You guys can keep typing. Anytime you don't see me, you don't see the banner above, then you know we're live. Anthony from YouTube. I just bought your book. Thank you. Being in my 50s, I wish I knew this a lot earlier because I went through a whole bunch of cars. Thank you for what you're doing, sir. I appreciate that. You know, enjoy the book. What I want you to do, Anthony, when you get your car using the strategies, please email me because I send you the book by email. So you'll have an email from me. And then when you get your deal, I want y'all to email me your deals. When you use the book and you get your deals, I want you to send me your deals because we're going to start working these into a show. Now, I have all these emails that I have to go through, and I have our administrator, our company administrator. She's going to start segmenting these emails because obviously you could imagine with, 2.2, 2.3 million followers, we get tons of emails and DMs. But what we're going to start doing is bringing, I have her actually bringing, kind of earmarking those so I can start bringing them into the show. But yes, I'm glad. Use it and win. You won't be losing at all anymore. And happy to be on this journey with you. Sunny Allen from Facebook. What's the difference between purchasing your book and joining your university group? Very, very big, good question. Before I even read the rest, I want to answer this. So the information is the same. It's how you learn. So in my Cars from Home University, which was is also called MAPS Academy, stands for Mastering Automobile Purchasing and Selling. Those are for people who want videos and coaching with me. Because you when you get access to the information is what we don't hold back. In the book, information, 7 steps. MAPS Academy, Cars from Home University, your best deal in 7 days. It's the same 7 steps in video form. Some people like Deshone. I prefer video. Some people like Deshone. I enjoy reading. I don't mind reading the steps. But when you're in MAPS Academy or Cars from Home University, we have our private Facebook group, and we have 2 Zoom calls a month. So, I can't make that available to everybody because I'm a limited person. And when you're getting access to me specifically, see, I can make the information available in a digital form. We can give that to, whoever gets it. But access to me specifically, where I'm working with you, that's the difference. And that's a big difference. So anyone who's interested in MAPS Academy, you have to go through my masterclass first. It's a free masterclass. I don't accept people in the MAPS Academy who haven't been through my masterclass. It's an hour long, and you can go and you can attend in my TikTok bio and my Instagram bio, or we have a link in the comment section on YouTube or Facebook where you attend the masterclass. So once you attend the masterclass, you get an offer to join my my course. But get it. I don't care how you get it. One person getting it, buying my book, getting in the MAPS Academy is not going to change my life. I appreciate it. It changes your life. Financially, praise the Lord, I've been taken care of. It's how you prefer to learn. Okay? That's the biggest difference. I get the difference between purchasing, leasing, and owning. But the process isn't as easy as the book says when it comes to purchasing used cars. The obstacle is getting original sticker prices, which is the main part of your system. I have been trying to get a used GLS 18 to 21 and followed your steps and have all the sites, but without the sticker price, I'm hitting the roadblock. So well, I wouldn't say I wouldn't say there's any one main part of my system. See, my system's very rigid. Every single step from setting up, from getting the Google Voice that we use so that we don't get calls, to setting up a shopping email so that we can actually get alerts for new inventory that pops up, to checking the Google to see the reliability rating of the vehicle and the longevity rating of the vehicle, that 5-minute exercise. Every part of my system is rigid. And the people, and again, I think this is more of a question of your learning style when it comes to the other parts. And hopefully if you've done those other steps, then certainly it's not your learning style. It's just you're having difficulty getting the window sticker. But if you haven't done those steps and and you think this is the main step, then I would say, it's certainly not. There is no main step. Extended warranties, when we look at, when we after you get your car, the bank bidding war, like all of this stuff is rigid. If you skip any of it, it's like being in McDonald's and yeah, it's only the fries though. I know it says take them out after 5 minutes, but what's gonna hurt if I take them out at 7? No, you mess up the whole system. So in regard to the window sticker thing, there's 3. Look, I teach. You can get it through. I think it's with Clutch or something like that. See, the whole thing is you gotta be willing to put your money where your mouth is. See, because I give access to strategies to get free window stickers. If Carfax, if you got the Carfax and they have an agreement with Mercedes, you can get it that way. If Mercedes is not on there are paid ways for you to get the window sticker. You can Google get a window sticker and you'll find websites that say $5, $10. So it's just, you might be trying to get it for free, in which case, I don't care. I'm getting a window sticker. I'm getting a window sticker, especially when I've narrowed it down and I've got my top 2 or 3 or 4 vehicles. I'm going to pay my $20 if I need to, and I'm going to get these window stickers. Similar to how when we buy a house rather, we would go and we would spend $400 or $500 or $600 on a home inspection. Even if we don't get the house, we're getting the home inspection to what? Protect ourselves. We're paying for the home inspection, and they might say, look, here's the inspection report. And you look at that thing and you say, we ain't getting this house. Or you use that as a negotiation tool. But you paid that money and you were willing to pay it even though I didn't have the house yet. So it's the same thing when we talk about the second most expensive item we purchase, the car. We need to be investing into tools that are going to help us save money, and these things are small. So what I would tell you is go to Google. I gave you 2 or 3 ways in the book to get the window sticker. If those didn't work for you, you go to Google, you type in get window sticker for Mercedes-Benz, and you pay whatever it costs to get it. But you don't do that until you've done everything else to narrow it down to the best inventory, including, and again, the best deals typically are popping up on your phone because you started accounts on the marketplaces like I teach. We don't just go and look at the marketplaces and say, oh, let me see what's the best deals on here. No, typically what we're doing when we're not even typically, what we're doing when we shop for a used car is we're looking at the market prices and then we're getting alerts of new inventory, because I can't get the best deal or a below market deal. I don't even like using the term best deal. I can't get a below market deal if I don't know what the market prices are. So once I know what the market prices are, I'm getting alerts of brand new inventory as soon as it hits. And I'm going to be so quick because of what I know that I'm going to be able to jump on deals quicker than most people can. Other people, they wait and they delay. They don't know, they hesitating. I already know the market prices are between 32 and 40,000. So when that new vehicle pops up and I see, oh shoot, okay, that's 32,000, 33. That's on the low side of the market. Then I look at that service report and then I look at the Carfax and I see this. It's like, oh, boom. And I'm gonna have that car locked up the day it hits the market. So I would tell you, Sanai, if use what I just said about Google, but if you're not doing these other parts of the system, then that could be, that a book is not effective for you. But it doesn't change what's in the book. The book is legit. So anyway, go ahead. Brown Sugar said, I'm in the bank bidding step now. Phenomenal. I love it. Go ahead, Dolan. Well, let's do one more. We'll do one more. Listen, we'll be back at 3 p.m. I told y'all these shows will be between an hour and a half, maybe a little longer because we're only doing one show a day and we used to do two. So what we'll do is we'll start, I really want to get to the point, but I gotta get with, we got to make sure we can support this. I really want to get to the point where we could go for between an hour and 45 minutes. So, because we be heating up. There's still a ton of people on here. Go ahead, Dolan. Dolan, you there? Probably be cycling through questions. Dolan be having all types of questions stored up. Dolan. All right, let's go. My man. How about high-end cars? Do you still get 5 dealerships for a new car? I can show you better than I can tell you, D. Hamilton. Kimberly, Maserati. Now, anytime you do see somebody, if I'm posting Facebook, these people are in Maps Academy. But again, same system. Everything they're learning and using in the Maps Academy is in my book, Cars from Home. She said, I graduated, I conquered my leasing process like a boss. Huge thanks to Sean. I reached out to over 25 Maserati dealers. That's our system, 25 to 5. I received 7 competitive quotes ranging from 1.02% to 1.8%. After counter offering, which in my book, I have a counter offer calculator that I created. So we put all our offers into that calculator and it tells us what to counter. So after countering, my best offer stuck to their quote and did not budge to 951. Lo and behold, a mid quote was able to beat them and came in. So her best quote originally is not the best quote when she made her counters. Somebody came back, they offered $944 a month. And just so you understand how much money she saved, you can see here, this was her best offer beforehand. She was saving over $20,000, $20,700. $20,700. So some of you, and unfortunately, and again, this is painful for some of you, and I know it is because there are people who are watching this who have the same Maserati that she got, and you're leasing it, and you are not paying $944 a month like she is. She got a $91,000 vehicle, $91,761. Look, you can see down payment, first month payment only, and she's paying $944 a month. So some of you are paying $1,400 a month for the same vehicle, $1,600 a month for the same vehicle. So when you say, D. Hamilton, should I be reaching out with high-end cars? High-end cars, any car, every car, Bentley, Maserati, I don't care, Toyota to Bentleys to Rolls Royces. When I worked for Mercedes, I sold a Maybach that had a $20,000 rebate on it. So if I was shopping for a Maybach and I was literally doing multiple offers, my price probably would have been, between the discount I probably would have got 30 grand off. But I sold a Maybach that had a $20,000 rebate on it. So that's 20,000 just in the rebate. So you have high-end cars that have huge rebates or have huge markups. And if you're not getting multiple offers, you just don't care about your money. So yeah, my system works on any car because you're talking to somebody who worked for Mercedes for 5 years. The most expensive car I ever sold was $435,000. It was an SLR McLaren 722S. So you're talking to somebody who is in the luxury world for more than half of my career. It's extremely important to get multiple offers on everything. My system works whether you're buying a Bentley or whether you're buying a Toyota or whether you're buying a smart car. It doesn't matter. All right. So that's the stream for today. I will see you on listen. We'll be back 3 p.m. tomorrow. If you're like Deshone, I don't even want to see you tomorrow. I just want the strategies. You can go to my TikTok bio. You can get my new digital book, Cars from Home. It's rated right now 4.95. All of you who are enjoying the book, if you could add to the ratings, because what I'm also going to do is read your ratings. I'm going to start getting all the reviews, and I'm going to start reading those on the show so you guys can see as well. But we rated 4.95. Thank you so much. And you can get your copy. You won't pay the normal $97 price. You'll pay $24 as long as you get to my TikTok bio or my Instagram bio before the 30 minutes is up and get your copy. Or you can go to DeshonesBook.com. We'll put the banner back on the screen for you guys. DeshonesBook.com. If you're watching us on TV, you can scan the QR code with your mobile phone. And then YouTube or Facebook, we have a link in the comment section for you guys to go to Deshone's Book and get your book for 75% off. Those of you who want to attend my free masterclass, it's called Everything You're Doing Wrong, Buying, Selling, and Leasing Cars. That's where I go over more than 23 mistakes most people are making and you need to stop making. I also go over the 2 biggest fears that every car salesperson has, and that's about an hour long. And then you can, if you're interested in joining my my Cars from Home University or Maps Academy, you'll see it at the end. But like I always say, I don't care how you get the information. I don't care how you apply what I'm telling you. As long as you do it, you will save the money. But you need to support yourself, and you need to unlearn what you've been programmed to do. Because as you can tell, we've been on here for an hour and 40 minutes. What you've been programmed to do has worked for the people who are against you. It's worked to make them a lot of money. It's worked to sell them a lot of cars, but it is leading to buyer's remorse for you, constant questioning, and lack of deal confidence and lack of price assurance. And what that means is when you get your new car, if I was to ask you, hey, I see you got a new car, you'd be willing to bet me $1,000 that I couldn't find a better price than you on this car? If you're not willing to say, Deshone, I'll take that bet all day because I shopped and I shopped the right way, then that means you don't have price assurance. Because anything I buy and anything people that listen to me buy, any of these people you've seen that use my stuff, they'd be willing to take the bet. Yeah, I'll bet you $1,000 because I shopped. You ain't finding no better deal than this. And that's price assurance. And that's what I want you to have. So you can attend my masterclass. There's a link in the comments for that, or a link in my TikTok or Instagram bio. I don't care how you get the information, just get it. All right, keep unlearning, keep relearning. God bless y'all.